Okay, this is Nicole with the Brentwood Press. Theresa, can you tell us a little bit about your husband Don and his accomplishments in the Olympics?
Absolutely. Don was from a little town in Penns Grove, New Jersey, a town of 5,000, and he came from a poor family who had a lot of difficulties. He dealt with alcoholism in his family, but he broke away from it as a young boy, and he went on to Villanova University to become a scholarship and also to go into the college and break all the college records. And from there, he became a little bit of a lost soul in '57 because now he didn't have the proper training and coaches around him. He had to find his own sources. And back in his time, they were amateur athletes. They did not get compensated for what they did. So consequently, he worked hard and still went and trained where he could find a place that would allow him to go into it. He'd find high schools and so forth in very, very, very skimpy conditions. And then he got drafted in the Army. When that happened, he sort of thought his goals were all gone because there was no way to train, no place to do anything. And a fellow Army friend, he turned around and he says, I'm going to talk to the colonel about you because I have a feeling that we can set something up. And they did. They allowed him to go to UCLA and train in California. We were in New Jersey. And to have proper training conditions so that he could compete in the Olympic trials in Stanford in 1959. And 59, he broke the indoor world record in Philadelphia, and then in 1960 at the trials, he broke the outdoor world record. Now, saying a world record doesn't sound like much, you hear that a lot, but that particular event hadn't been broken in 18 years, so this was quite an accomplishment. At the time he was in Palo Alto and he jumped, I was 20 years old and not allowed to be anywhere that I wasn't chaperoned at the time. I was from a very strict Italian Catholic family, and I wanted to go to these Olympic trials because I knew I couldn't make it to Italy if he did make it. And his aunt and uncle were kind enough to let me tag along with them. But at that moment, he broke the world's record, and I saw him jump out of that pit. My impulse, and I was at Stanford Stadium, the walls were pretty high, but I managed to leap over the one wall and start running towards him. And he saw me and started running towards me, threw me in the air. And behind me, if you saw the movie tone screens back then, you didn't have much of this video, there was a cop chasing me. But I managed to get past him. And then that picture became quite well known in the entire country. And it was really exciting. And then they always have one couple that they make the sweethearts of that Olympics. And we were those sweethearts. But he wouldn't let me go to the Olympics because he said I'll be a distraction. So he went to the games and he told everybody, I will not put gold on her finger till I have gold around my neck. And so we did. And he announced in Italy that he was coming home to marry his high school sweetheart. And I read it in the newspaper. I couldn't get the phone call from him for 3 more days. So he had to be in Hollywood by the end of November, and this was October. And he said, November 12th, we're getting married. And of course, my mother wanted to kill him. But we were in the industry, in the business, catering and so forth, so they put everything together. And we had a beautiful, beautiful wedding. And then we drove in the car and went to California so he could sign the contract to play Tarzan in the movies. From there, it's history.
Awesome. Any more questions? You want to follow up with some of the items that she has?
Okay.
Let's first let's talk about the photo.
Yeah. Can you
Well,
tell us
right
about the
now
photo?
you have the picture here of Don receiving his gold medal. And the gentleman next to him is Ronnie Morris from California, and the other gentleman is Eels Landstrom from Finland. Ronnie just passed away about 3 weeks ago, and Eels passed away about a year ago. So I hope the 3 of them are up there competing a little bit together and having a good time. And so they were dear, dear friends and just enjoyed all of them. This is the infamous picture that took place when I jumped up in the air, foolishly jumped out onto the arena there, but it was awesome. And there was no way you were going to keep me in my chair at that moment in time. And then the beautiful part of it all is the beautiful gold medal. Rome did something very different. They did a chain. They did not do a ribbon. This was caught in a fire and our home burned down, and a fireman raced in, and I told him just where it was on the wall. Found it, brought it out, but in the meantime the glass had broken, some of the chains got lost, but we got what was left of it, and one of the members of the country club that I was a director at in California, Oakers, turned around and redid it for me, put it in the case, and he said, don't take it out because it's already been treated, the metal, for the fire. So we have this in our presence, and we're very proud of it.
Awesome. And then you had the flag.
Yes.
We do. We have the Olympic flag that, unfortunately, when you pass away, they give you this beautiful flag. Am I upside down?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah,
Let's go the other way. Anyway, they give you this beautiful flag. And we honored my husband, who wanted to be, he was a Viking. He told us he was, and 6 months before he passed, we found out on Ancestry that he was a 58% Viking. So we turned around and we had my grandsons carry this down full width-wise, and when they got to the end of the aisle, they raised it up to Josh Groban singing, "You Raised Me Up." And at that point, we took our flower wreath that someone made for me, a florist made of the Olympic rings, and we placed it in our lake right there at the LeGrand Estates, which I own and operate. And from that point there, we went to the back of our property, and we did the full Viking funeral with shooting the bow and arrow right to the boat, a little Viking boat my son built, and we blew it up, and we gave him his Viking funeral.
Awesome. All right.